vibration, energy, frequency, vibration.
What's going on, world? Good evening. You are now tuned into another episode of the Universal Frequency. So I appreciate you showing up. I'm excited to be back. We have a ton to talk about. And again, the Universal Frequency is a podcast where we talk about things that connect us all. All right. So just understand that is the basis point that we are now heading towards. But before we get started, let's show some love to who we are powered by. Okay, cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, man, on the Universal Frequency, you may often hear a lot of self-help. You may hear a lot of inspirational stuff we talk about. We'll even get into financial literacy. But again, the goal is to discuss things that I think will connect us all in some way or some fashion. And we're going to continue to do so. And I want to play a clip for you that I found very, very interesting. So it was a clip, and I'm just going to add it to the screen right now. Present, share screen, Chrome tab. All right, so this is an interview from a couple years ago. Oh, actually, you guys can't even see it yet. Let me make sure it's added. Bingo. All right. So this is from an interview from 2 years ago where Mike Tyson is speaking to Francis, and I'm probably going to mess up dude's name. But the UFC heavyweight champion, please respect him. And I saw a YouTube short of this conversation, and it just really grabbed me. And this episode is about being chosen, and Mike Tyson has some really interesting words to share, right? So I'm going to play it. I'm going to bust it down.
You have to believe this, and you have to know this one thing I'm going to
bring it back.
You have to believe this, and you have to know this one thing I'm going to tell you, and this is spiritual, right?
Yeah.
See all your stuff, all your fights, see all your fights and stuff? All your knockouts is spectacular. Know what that means? All this good stuff happening to you, know what that means? That you're favored by God. You know that, right?
Yeah.
You know that, right? But there's something, that you may not know, too. When you're favored by God, you're also favored by the devil. He's coming for you, too. So you just got to be strong and stay on the right side. Whose side you going to go on? He's going to give you power, too. He's going to get in your head, too, but it's whose side you going to stay with. You stay with who brought you here. Mm. You go home with the guy that brought you to the dance. Mm. You know? Oh, you're powerful. He wants you. He's coming at you. He's going to tell you, he's going to tell you how beautiful you are, and he's going to tell you, I made you beautiful. So you do what I say. Mm. I'm not going to let you get all this fame, and I'm not going to enjoy this pleasure either. He might want you to fuck somebody you're not supposed to fuck, but I want to fuck her. You know, they get in your head, and they make you believe you deserve it. Why don't you deserve it? Didn't Mike Tyson tell you no should be a foreign language? Oh, they talk to you like they're your best friend. You have to be disciplined. Discipline is doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
So let's bust that down, yo. I thought that was a real insightful clip, and it's a dope interview, right? So I encourage you to go listen to the entire thing. I actually enjoy Mike Tyson speaks, man. I feel like his perspective of just being an elder is phenomenal with the things that he's been through. But with particular to what he was saying there, when you're favored by God, you're also favored by the devil. And I think that is a really, really interesting point to make for a lot of levels. One, saying that you're valuable, right? If God finds you valuable and he finds favor in you, right? That means the enemy will also find you valuable and find favor in you in efforts to turn you away from him. And that's the parallel that Mike Tyson was speaking about, which I do believe literally. But I think that's something that those of us who know that we have a calling and know that we are chosen to do something bigger and greater than ourselves, right? Behind the glory of God, regardless of what context, right? What Abrahamic book you may read or not. But if you believe that God is guiding you to your higher path, to your higher enlightenment, you are going to face some adversity, right? You're going to face some adversity, and you are absolutely going to be tested by the opposition to stop you from achieving your goal. And I think that's something that I know that I have gotten lost in at times. And if you are someone that who is still, plugging along your path, and sometimes you may veer slightly off it, and the universal course correct, and you'll find other people that are walking similar paths like you. But you're all searching on your own journey, all called to the same beacon, which is godliness, right? To find your way home, to champion people along with you. Know that favor that God has shown you is also an opportunity for the enemy to turn you against God. And the closer that you get, right, the more aggressive the turbulence will be. If that's the words I want to say. And again, I am not here to come up here and preach. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a minister. I'm nothing like that. I'm not ordained by any manner. But what I can tell you is that I am someone that who constantly strives to seek their own light. And this is a conversation that me and many of my brethren have often, right? And I find those of us that are constantly on the pursuit of something greater, not necessarily just happiness, right? Because I can tell you on the path that I'm on, I don't know if it's necessarily right the happiness that drives me, right? The happiness of helping people and sharing information. Yes, it does, give me joy to give that out. But I believe my path of sharing information and educating and empowering people will absolutely impact generational wealth and lives of children in low to moderate income families. So I believe God's put me here to do that, as amongst many things, right? But just sharing you that parallel and that portion, and along that way of me understanding that about myself, I definitely was faced with turbulence along the way, because that's what life does. And it seems like the closer that I would get at times to where I believe where I should be, the more turbulent the universe will seem to push back. And what I want to share is that if you're someone that has gone through something similar, that's just a sign that you are on the right path, right? You're on the right path. Uh, I'm always going to encourage you to speak to the God within yourself and your internal compass as to what you should be doing and where you should be going. So regardless of whatever I tell you on this screen, you are accountable for your actions and where you take your life and how you live it. But seek it eternally. And once you find that purpose and once you align towards it, you are going to face resistance. You're going to be found valuable not only by God but by the opposition to stop you from your path. And these are things you have to remember as the universe starts to continue to push back, give you turbulence, throw things in your way. Sometimes there are things that are unexpected. Sometimes there are things that you maybe didn't do as tight as you should have. And normally it won't come back to bite you, but this time it did. Little things like that are all part of the human experience. And one of the pieces of information that I found very empowering, right, was a message from, a passage from John 15. So I'm going to pull that up. John 15, lines 19 to 21. And to put this in context, this is a discussion that Christ was having during the Last Supper with his disciples. So hold on, let's remove this from screen and add this one. Regardless of you Christian or not, I hope you can relate to it. Right? I'm just simply sharing what I believe is divine information that can help you along the way. Okay, so the context is the Last Supper. Christ is talking to his disciples. If anyone wants to correct me or share any information, please leave a comment in the chat. I'm definitely open to learning. But if ye were of the world will love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. Remember the word that I said unto you. The servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will also keep yours. But all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they not know him that sent me. I think this is powerful. I do. Actually, you know what? I even added to the screen. I'm bugging. Let me add it to the screen. I'm tripping. So you can see this. Boom. And line 19. If you were of the world will love his own, but because ye are not of the world, but I've chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. Yo, to be real, I think this is a valuable piece of information for you to know as you go along your journey, as you keep God close to you, and whatever your pursuit of righteousness is. Just understand that there are going to be some people that find your energy and your aura and your intentions threatening because you are aligned with the Most High. And that's just part of the story. That's just how it goes. When I think about the context of if ye were of the world will love his own, but because ye are not of the world, I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. It seems to me like part of this human experience when you walk this path, right, is to experience that turbulence, is to get that pushback, is to carry that weight and have God shield you from it. And so if you look yourself in the mirror and you believe that God has chosen you for a calling and he's going to use you for whatever his purpose is, my goal of this conversation is to remind you that as you experience turbulence on the way, that is just part of the story, part of the narrative. You can't do great things without the odds being great against you. Ooh, I just made that up on the fly. Oh, man, I got to start writing these down. You can't do great things without great odds being stacked against you. I hope that's what I just said. But it's the truth. And I know for myself, as I've gotten to my pockets, and Lord knows you've had obstacles, I've had obstacles, I've had to say to myself, the story, the comeback, the narrative, the way this chessboard is set up, only God could put me in this and pull me out of it. And so I embrace that part of my story. And I told you from the beginning when we started the universal frequency that this is not me speaking to you as you should do what I tell you. This is me speaking to you as I go through my journey myself. So as I'm looking into this camera, it's really more about self-reflecting to me and what guidance I would give myself as I continue to seek a path of higher enlightenment. So for those of you who don't know, yes, I'm a podcaster. I'm also a hip hopper, supreme master lyricist, probably the nicest ever. You'll know it soon. I am the president of the FNX Foundation, and we've raised awareness for child hunger in the state of Connecticut and financial literacy, because 1 out of every 6 children in the state of Connecticut are food insecure. And just to bring that full circle, I experience food insecurity. I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I'm going to continue to champion these things that are occurring in life today, because the people that are going through it deserve to be advocated for. But my experience with food insecurity has now emboldened me to champion and advocate for others. And while I was going through it, it wasn't something that I could have told you that I was going to do. But it was something that as I got out of it, I was called to do so. Like I knew why I had gotten on the other side of that fence and what I was supposed to do. Right? Got on the elevator, went up, sent it back down. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. And whatever your personal story is, whatever your journey is, whatever it is you are facing, I think remaining disciplined in your focus and how you use your energy and, what you intake, right? What you see, what you listen to, what you eat, the energy that you consume, because all those things will be used against you. When I hear the story about Christ, right, and being tested over 40 days, right, and, imagining, how the opposition came to him and probably said all the wildest things. And it wasn't just a matter of what Christ was probably seeing at the moment. It was probably also a test of emotions, right? And the discipline and the discernment and the focus and the knowing of what his calling was, the knowledge of God and the power that it gave him to be disciplined. I think that is some of the illest shit I've ever heard, Joe. I mean, excuse my French, I'll say it. I think it's dope. I think should we all have the strength to execute that type of will in the face of the enemy, that's one hell of a way to show God that you're about it, right? But let's peel back this saying about Mike Tyson. I know I got off it a little bit, but I definitely want to bring it back. So, when God favors you, so does the devil. What does that mean for you in your walk? It means that the opposition knows exactly how to get to you. So they think. It means the opposition has an understanding of, things you like, things you don't like. They're going to understand things that, you may gravitate towards and disguise them to send them at you to distract you. And they're going to know what you don't like, so they don't send those things to you. This is an interesting set of chess, right? Interesting programming that is there for a particular reason, to make you prove your worthiness. That's how I look at it, right? Some people, there's some doctrines out there that'll say, this is a God and a devil thing, and this is some war, and God needs you. Let's be real. God don't need you to do nothing, right? When he decides whatever energy, whatever he decide, whatever reality he decides he wants to put forth, he will. Right. So I don't firmly believe that this is God needing me. I think this is the opportunity for me to show, while I am on this rock, what I do in my human experience and the time that I'm given, how worthy I am. And that is the type of focus I would like you guys to apply in your walk. When these things pop up in your life and they're adverse, you'll lose your job. Maybe you'll get divorced. Maybe you'll take a monetary loss. You get behind on a bill. And I apologize if I sound like I'm preaching, but the truth is the truth, right? As you go through these things, you have to understand that keeping your focus and your faith is what's going to bring you through. And that is all for a particular reason. At least that's what I believe. You may not agree, and we could talk about it, right? Because I didn't come up here just to have conversations with people who agree with me. I came here to learn, and in that higher education, we have dialogue that allows us to see points of views that we may not have. And so that's what this is, man. And this is water, by the way. I'm not talking about God over here. Drinking Hennessy. But I do believe the path of being chosen for your purpose is a godly experience. That is what this episode is about. Just being direct. So thinking about the gates of how you can consume energies, what you see, right? What you eat, what you hear. I think that's also a part of being chosen that you have a responsibility for. I do. I feel like once you're aligned with a particular path, once you have a particular focus, you have to make sure what you are consuming at the gates, into your body are aligned with your purposes. If you're trying to do it at the maximum level. And this is not me saying I have mastered that yet. I'm very much a work in progress. But I do feel great, though, that I am in progress and the trajectory is swinging up. And one day I'm going to look in this camera. I'm going to tell you that I've mastered my energy at the highest level that I ever have. And that's the tide that I want us all to ride. All to ride, excuse me. All to wave. You come with me on this journey. We focus on being our best selves. We share our experiences about overcoming adversity, but sticking to our path and remaining disciplined to do the things that we need to, even when we don't want to. And that tie raises all ships. That's something that we could all celebrate. Because I guarantee you, whatever your passion is, whatever your desire is, whatever walk you are choosing, you align yourself with that focus. It's impossible for you to lose, yo. I don't see it. But those are just my thoughts. And I feel like as long as your fingers and toes are still moving, you still have an opportunity to do what you have to do. And I know I've gone through scenarios where I've wasted time, I've gotten distracted, I've gone down a rabbit's hole that has ultimately distracted me. And then I felt guilty that I allowed myself to sort of go that route. And I think what's important as we heal from these things, right, is you do have to forgive yourself for being human. You do have to forgive yourself for stumbling. But you can't define yourself by staying stumbled, right? You have to define yourself by how you stand up from it. You can't be defined by your mistakes, aside from the crazy ones, right? Some shit you just can't take back. But I feel like, as much time as I sat here and I told you that I may have wasted, I feel like the time that I have right now is the most impactful that I could ever have. And so that feeling, that chemical, that energy alignment that I'm discussing right there is the life raft, is the focus that you're going to need, right? You wake up every day, you think about your objective, and you align with it. And knowing that the harder the task, let me just get this off. Doesn't matter. The more gargantuan the task, the higher the mountain that you're going to climb. The higher you get, the more thinner the air is going to get. That's just the reality. And some of the people that you have, with you may not be able to make it. But in your pursuit of greatness, because you know that you were chosen to climb that mountain. God built you a specific way to get to the top of that mountain. And you may have friends that started with you on the bottom, and they were rooting for you because they were, climbing with you. And as you got higher and higher, and maybe on the bottom, you could afford to climb a certain way. The gravity was lower, the air was plentiful, right? You didn't have to preserve as much energy, but the higher the altitude got, the more focus and more discipline it required of you. That's how it's supposed to be. And you may feel like, yo, this person was a dog, or it may be a relationship. I love this person. It could be a family member. It could be a situation that you're dealing with. Boy, girl, whatever scenario that you're dealing with. Understand that higher you climb on that mountain, you're going to have to climb a certain way to get yourself there. And it may not be the way for everybody. I think that's also an understanding if you are someone that's chosen. And let me be clear, right? I'm not talking about, like, some people will say, oh, I'm the chosen one. Like it's a stature, and it is, right? Because when God puts you on your crown, so he puts you on your throne and seats you in front of your enemies, and right in his highest glory, right? That's something that is worth celebrating. But in terms of us, you having a path, or you being great at something, we're all giving gifts. We're all giving gifts. Those of us that have souls. Now, for you, matrix robots out there, well, it's whatever you're programmed with. But in terms of humans, right? Those of us with a soul, you have a gift. You are chosen to excel, or whatever that gift is. Let's be clear. So for me, being great at something is a part of God's blessings, right? And some people may be great at something and not, give the glory to God, and that's fine. Some people do. I always feel like whenever you tap into whatever energy you tap into or whatever field you're in, aligning yourself with the Most High is only going to make you better because you're tapping into something greater than yourself, aligning with a particular purpose that's designed for you. So that's the science behind why I believe what I do. Whether you feel the same is up to you. But I do think the proof is in the pudding. But I do know that as you climb up that mountain and God's telling you to grab onto this rock or to go this path, and there may be a straighter path to get to the top of this mountain, and you see everyone taking the shortcut, and God's telling you to go the long way. And you may not want to go the long way because you see everyone else taking this short path and they can get to the top so much faster and it's so much easier. And then you may even try to go that path that the other people are climbing. And then the rock may fall, right, that you were trying to grab. Oh, now that's not an option. That is God redirecting you. And then sometimes you're forced to go that harder path. That's him redirecting you and saving you. And if you, not if, here we go with that negative spelling. When you continue your pursuit of whatever your path is, whatever your journey is, and then you get to the top of that mountain, you be like, dang, it took me a little longer, but I sure climbed it, right? When you share that perspective, and you'll see some of the people that took that shorter path, that maybe kicked some other people that was close to them off the mountain just so they could climb. That maybe didn't talk to God as to what path they were taking climbing up that mountain. Instead, they thought they knew. Those are all things that are part of the human experience. And if you're a chosen one and you know what you got to do, don't sit there and champion it like, oh, I'm great. This is what God has given me. Use it. And when it gets tough, use it even more. And when it gets tough, use it even more than that. Use the gift that he gave you to do what you got to do. That's what I firmly believe, yo. I got a buddy. I got to bring him on here. He's from the hood. Shout out to B Love, yo. I'm gonna put your business out there. Shout out to B Love. He got exposed to lacrosse at a really, really young age, younger than most people in the inner city. I want to say it was because of his older brother. Shout out to Steve, shout out to Dwayne, by the way. Because of his older brother was a great lacrosse player. And then obviously Brandon following in his footsteps, shout out to B Love, picked up a lacrosse stick early. So imagine a kid in the projects, in the hood with a lacrosse stick. Everyone else is playing basketball. They going through whatever they're going through. They dealing with, income issues. They're dealing with all the systematic things that come with living in those environments. And you got this young kid out there with a lacrosse stick, people looking at him weird. And he's practicing. He's hitting the wall every day, right? For those of you that don't know, that motion was you holding the lacrosse stick and throwing it. No weird shit. He's going right-handed. He's going left-handed. He's practicing every single day. And this time it's not cool, right? This time it's not cool. Gets older, starts playing high school. He's a rock star. Puts himself through college with that same lacrosse stick, right? Puts himself through college, then is such a master at his craft. He now coaches and trains Division I athletes with that very same lacrosse stick. So my question is, did that happen by accident? Right? I'm pretty sure when Love was out there with his lacrosse stick and kids, you know how the hood is. You can't really do no different shit. Let's just be real. While everyone else was playing basketball, doing whatever, and he had his lacrosse stick. You didn't think people talk slick. You didn't think people had things to say. You didn't think, that he faced some sort of pushback of trying to, just exist as an inner city kid from the hood with a lacrosse stick. I think so. And I got to bring him on here to tell his story. But I would imagine at every step of his journey, he had adversity and distractions to stop him from his purpose. Right. And sometimes we may question why we were even living in certain situations. Why were we living in the projects? Why were we doing this? Why did it unfold this way? All I know is the way this unfolded for this young man, shout out to B Love, where he was at, how he got his lacrosse stick. He not only changed his stars, but he's also helping other youth change theirs. Helping inner city kids with lacrosse to not only be better athletes, but be better students, to empower them and build their confidence. That's what happens when God chooses you. Shout out to B Love. You my bro. But that's what happens when God chooses you. So I just want you, whoever is looking into this, whenever you find that lacrosse stick of yours, right? Just understand the price that come with it. And what's it going to take, for you to do what you got to do. It's real. That's real. One of the other things I wanted to mention, and this is something that, okay, so let me back up, right? And my pastor's probably going to think I'm like stealing all the sermons. I'm not, bro. I'm not. It just, whatever. I don't always go to church, but when I do, I always find myself getting the message that I need to hear. However you determine that you want to use that. And one Sunday, Pastor Logan was talking about being still. And, as things are changing around you, as the waters are turbulent, as life seems to be coming at you really fast. Let's just say that, extremely fast. And I've said really more than I want to on this podcast. Just call it knocking the rust off, but you understand where I'm coming from. As things start to happen really, really quickly around you, sometimes the best thing that you could do is to be still and listen to yourself and that God within you to figure out what your next move is. And I probably should have put that before I put the other stuff, but I gotta be real with you. I was just excited about that Mike Tyson clip. I thought it was dope. Hey, yo, someone gotta let me know how to say my man's name. Actually, I'm bugging. I just should have YouTubed him and heard an announcer say his name. But even then, they'd be messing up people's shit. So my homework for this is I'm gonna research who was the champion that time. Francis. I don't even want to mess his name up. I'm gonna figure out how to say it. We gonna come back and revisit this conversation for sure. But God will bless you and he will test you. On my forearm, I have a tattoo that says life is a test. A test of intuition, a test of wit, a test of character, a test of grit, right? You can't control the things that happen to you. You can only control how you deal with those things. See, I got some one-liners just to get my execution up. I'm used to rapping, just talking thing, but it's the truth. It's 1000% the truth. And if you feel that way, I want you to leave a comment. There are people all across the world that can benefit from this conversation that we're having. I don't care if you're in Australia, Japan, Europe, wherever. Tune into the universal frequency. This is the human experience. We are all in this together. We are all way more connected those of us that have souls at least. We are all way more connected than we realize. And I just want to vibrate with the right people. And if you're on the fence of how your energy should be, and you're still trying to find your way, you tune into this. If you've already found it and you vibrate high, you still tune in and bring somebody with you that needs to get over the fence, right? We pulling people over the fence. That's what we doing. We sending the elevator back down. You heard? That's what we doing on this podcast. Because when it's all said and done, man, what you do with your time and how you use it will be your ultimate measure. So, I say that because I have friends that sometimes, we have philosophical conversations and even judgment, the concept of it. Some may believe that we're told that we're going to be judged and we're not actually going to be judged and all this other stuff. And I don't even look at it as like a judgment thing. I look at it as when you watch the game tape, the film of your performance, will you be happy with the playback? That's how I look at it. And I know for me, the way I'm built, if I'm judged in a manner that God is happy with me, I know I'm going to be happy with my game tape. I know it. I don't think I'll ever look back and be like, damn, man, I should have did other shit. I don't believe so. I don't believe that for you either. So anyway, man, we're going to do this on Mondays. Monday's going to be the day. I know I'm getting myself into something when football season comes. It's cool. It's cool. I realize that's all distractions anyway. Even though I'm still a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan and don't say nothing. I don't want no weird shit in my chat about your team. Bucks forever. But anyway, man, Mondays we're gonna do this. I want to hear what we should talk about. And that's another thing. So as you guys are watching these episodes and you have experiences you want to share, you have information that you want to share, plug it in. If you think it's valuable, if you think it'll help someone, if you think it'll help me, if you think it'll help yourself, that's what we on, man. That's what we on. So shout out to the universal frequency. My name is FNX. It has been a wonderful, wonderful evening. I will see you next Monday night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's love, y'all. I'm out.
Energy, frequency, vibration. Energy, frequency, vibration.